There are three terms that we use interchangeably, but they're very different emotions. And it's really important to understand what people are feeling so that you can diagnose it and treat it effectively. And those terms are anxiety, fear, and worry. We'll say, oh, I'm really anxious about this. Oh, I'm really afraid this. Oh, I'm worried about this. As if they're the same thing, but they're not. They're very different things. Anxiety is a generalized, non-specific sense of dread. It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop. You don't know what the other shoe is. You don't know when or where it's coming from. It's like the black cloud out there on the horizon, threatening but far away. And it is one of the most painful emotions. Why? Because you don't have any sense of control. You don't know where the other shoe is. It's like looking at the world through sunglasses that say doom. You can't see beautiful sunrises. You can't see rainbows if your inner self is so full of anxiety. And at a cognitive level, three bad things happen when you're full of anxiety. Bad thing number one, your memories get distorted. When you're in a state of high anxiety, all of your past failures and rejections seem really big and life-changing and certain to be repeated, and all of your past successes seem really insignificant. Your current perceptions get warped. When you're in a state of high anxiety, the threats out there seem a lot bigger and a lot more dangerous than they really are, and your own resources, your own assets, your own relationships seem not up to the task much more than they really are. And the third thing that happens is that your future vision gets distorted. When you're in a state of high anxiety, it is much easier for you to have a mental picture of you living under a bridge, warming your hands on a trash can fire, than to see that best thing that ever could have happened, expect a miracle sort of outcome. And what happens is if you give in to anxiety, you contribute to a self-fulfilling prophecy of things that you don't want to have happen. Norman Dixon wrote the classic book on the psychology of military incompetence. It's 400 pages long, but I can give you the executive summary in one sentence. The difference between competent and incompetent military commanders is that the incompetent military commanders do not do a good job of managing their anxiety. They give in to panic or they give in to paralysis, and they end up being defeated. Paul Tillich, in his book, The Courage to Be, wrote that anxiety is such a painful emotion because there's no sense of control that it works hard to try to become fear. Why? Fear is specific. You're afraid of something. Anxiety is the black cloud out on the horizon. Fear is the raging storm. You can hear it, you can feel it, you can touch it. And it gives you the illusion of control. If you're afraid of something, you know what you have to fight. And the problem is, if you're in a state of high anxiety, you will find things to be afraid of that are inappropriate. As Jim Collins put it in his book, How the Mighty Fall, when you're in a state of fear, you end up making bad decisions, taking inappropriate actions. You end up doing exactly the things that bring about that which you're afraid of. Worry is like anxiety in that it's about the future, but it's like fear in that it's specific. You're worried about something that might happen in the future. Now, as a leader, you have to recognize that anxiety and fear and worry, even though they're different things, they're related. They can paralyze you, they can paralyze your organization, or they can galvanize you to take the action you need to take. So what do you do as an entrepreneur? What do you do as a leader? You have to manage anxiety. And you do that by effectively communicating with people, by being in touch with people. Some of the things we're going to talk about later in this session on how to be an effective leader. You channel fear. You can't drive fear out of the workplace, Deming notwithstanding. When he said drive fear out of the workplace, he was speaking very specifically about not being afraid to stop the assembly line if you see a problem. But you can't drive fear out. It's a natural human condition. Make sure that people are afraid of the right thing. Make sure people are afraid of losing a customer, not afraid of losing their job, and they'll do the things to keep customers and then keep their job. And question worry. The great German poet Rilke, in his Letters to a Young Poet, wrote, train your doubt. When you have worry, when you have doubt, ask it questions. Make it answer. Why are you worried about this? Why do you think the sky is falling? when you question your doubt, when you train your doubt, when you question worries, you get specific answers, and it will help you move from right brain to left brain. And as we'll see shortly, that's what you have to do to manage anxiety and fear and worry.